What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Karsatowski, and welcome back to the Karsatowski Bowling YouTube channel. So today's bowling breakdown is the 2000 PBA Tournament of Champions. So let's get right on to the title match. Okay, so we have the 2000 PBA World Tournament of Champions, featuring the defending champion Jason Couch versus Ryan Shafer. So Jason Couch won the 1999 Tournament of Champions against Chris Barnes in a very intense, fairly low-scoring match. Let's see how the lane conditions are going to be in this year. And it looks like Jason is playing much straighter in this title match compared to the previous year. He was getting it out to about the second and third board last year, and now he's getting it well inside of that, pretty closer to 10-11 board. And here is Ryan Shafer. Ryan Shafer has never won a PBA major in his career, but he has had about 15 or 16 step-ladder finals and majors and finished second, I believe, about 5 times. Yeah, Ryan Shafer is also, he's a lot further left on the approach, but he's still pretty much going directly inside the pocket. Ryan Shafer has won his previous 2 matches to advance to the title match.
Could be tough catching this man right here.
Pretty good shot, gets that one a little bit inside. It doesn't quite have enough to take out the 4-pin.
He got a piece of that 4-pin, but not enough to knock down the Brunswick Pro pins. 3 pounds 10 ounces. Ball hitting the 27 board at the arrows, coming in a bit high.
All right, well.
4-pin wiggles, but does not.
All right, pretty easy cover for Shafer. All right, now I really do think that Ryan Shafer is the most underrated player to ever have bowled on the PBA Tour. Like, to put into context, Ryan Shafer has, I think he started his career in, I think around like 1987 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. He probably was on longer than that, but somewhere in the 80s is when he joined, and he has made about like well more than 50 step-ladder finals, and he only has 5 titles in his career. And most of them came within like a 2-year span, and Jason has a really unfortunate break on the 10-pin. But anyway, so Ryan Shafer, like in the 2000s, he was among the top 6 and 7 players to have made step-ladder finals. He was right up there with Walter Ray Williams Jr., Chris Barnes, Pete Weber. I mean, Ryan Shafer was with all of them in the 2000s. And yet he just had a bunch of third-place finishes and a bunch of runner-up finishes and all kinds of finishes except for first place. And it's really unfortunate too, because Ryan Shafer could probably have about 12 or 13 titles by now, and probably with at least 1 or 2 majors, and he could easily be in the Hall of Fame at this point, because everything else about his career is just spelled Hall of Fame. But unfortunately, he was just a few wins shy of potentially being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now, he does bowl on the PBA 50 Tour, and he could do well enough on the 50 Tour. Oh, great mixer by Jason Couch. Yeah, but Ryan could bowl good enough on the 50 Tour to end up becoming Hall of Fame eligible. Like, we've seen PBA pros who have had pretty decent PBA careers, but not quite good enough to get in the Hall of Fame, and then later on in their later years of bowling, they'd bowl phenomenal on the PBA 50 Tour, and that would be good enough to get them in the Hall of Fame. Another strike on the right lane for Shafer. Like, we've seen Pete Couture, he won 5 titles on the National Tour, and then he won even more on the 50 tour, including a couple majors. And then most recently, we've seen Tom Hess. He won one major on the PBA Tour, and he's won, at this point, more than half a dozen titles on the 50 Tour, and he continues to win, and pretty soon he'll be one of a few players to win at least 10 titles. So there have definitely been some players who have had a lot of success on the 50 Tour who didn't have quite the stellar National Tour. And that ball goes high for Shafer, and it leaves the Greek church. Now, at this point in the match, it's probably best to just go for the count, so he would just need to go for the 6, 9, and 10 instead of trying to slide something over. Yeah, he just went for count, and that honestly probably should have picked up the 7 pin, but oh well. There's a lot of different ways to miss that split, and there's only a couple ways to really make it.
Like to celebrate it with a win here at the TSC. Back-to-back TSC. But still a long way to go. Shafer and open in the
Interesting how this pattern is, they might be using a different pattern this time. They didn't really have named patterns during this time, but both players are definitely going, their angles are a lot tighter in this title match compared to last year. And the high hard one seems to be working for Couch. He's not leaving any weird splits as of right now. He's really just leaving himself a bunch of makeable spares here. So if he can keep his ball pretty close to the pocket and have good carry, then I think Jason will probably win this handily. And Ryan Shafer is going at pretty good pace, although he did have that unfortunate most recent shot, so that was unfortunate. So it looks like this one might be a relatively low score. Scores may not be as low as last year, which it took in the 190s to win in the previous year. So it'll probably take at least a 2-0 or 2-10 to win this, but a lot of major finals, the winning scores are usually fairly low. Like a really good title match win in most majors is going to be like in the mid 220s to low 230s at a really good title match score in most majors. We've seen crazier things though. This one probably won't be one of those, but we'll see what happens. And Jason has a pretty good shot right there to maintain his lead in the match. Ball goes a little bit light and carries the 7 pin nicely. When you have shots like that, that means you've got a little bit of miss room to get your ball a little bit light. Shafer goes just a touch high. He's got a pretty good look on that lane.
Shafer with a 4-pin.
But he just needs to stay out of trouble so he doesn't leave a bunch of splits like he did on the previous frame.
Maybe a little even more projection down the lane. The ball is starting to face up early. That's what the pros call it. That means
there's Johnny Petraglia in the audience there, and he has also won the Tournament of Champions. He was one of the first players to ever win the Triple Crown. Nice pickup on the 4-pin. Okay, so Jason Couch has about a 14-pin lead over Shafer. Shafer needs to find a consistent look into the pocket. They're both playing pretty tight angles. And it looks like now Ryan's going to have to miss a little bit to the outside because he keeps missing a lot of his shots inside. Now, I thought that one was going to go high or Brooklyn, and it ended up going a little bit light and not being able to carry the 10-pin. And he also stuck on that approach, too. Look at this. Yeah, he almost loses balance there and falls over. All right, well, Pretty simple 10-pin pickup.
Shafer just trying to keep within striking distance because he needs.
There you go. As long as you're converting your makeables, you're going to keep yourself in the match. Do we have a few ads here? No. I think this video skipped a lot of the ads. This was also around the time when they had ads in the title match, which I like now that they don't have ads in the title match. But they still had them during this time. It was a pretty good looking shot there, just didn't have enough juice on it to carry the 7. With the angles that they're playing, the ball is going to have enough energy into the pocket to be able to carry the corner pins. That is like their biggest issue with playing those lines, is the fact that your carry can be a little bit wonky when you don't have very steep angles. If you have steep angles and you're having good ball roll, it's easier to get your ball to kick out the corner pins. But when you're playing a little bit straighter like that, you really have to make your shots a lot more perfect with your touch, or else you're not going to kick out those corner pins.
For Jason Couch, that's his lead right now, and that is by no means any kind of runaway. Couch has made very, very good shots, leaving the solid 10-pin and the solid 7-pin on lane 22. Doing a lot of deep breathing. You can hear him as he's got.
All right, let's see if Jason can strike again on this lane. There you go. Perfect shot. Great looking shot. That one annihilated the 7-pin. He just needs to figure out how to do that on the right lane.
Okay, see, he's talking to that lane. Now, is that lane listening? He never listened to me.
That lane is winning at the present time. And Ryan Shafer.
Let's see if Ryan can get his ball to strike. Oh my goodness! That was such a good looking shot. Dadgummit. You see how difficult that is? That looked like a pretty good shot. He's playing way left, but he's still keeping his angles tight at the break point. And that ball just still just doesn't have enough energy to get out the corner pins. That would probably be a ball change. Although I don't know how many balls he brought to this title match, but if he's got another ball, he might consider on changing. But again, I think he only brought one ball.
The upcoming college basketball season that features his diaper dandies, primetime players, and lots more. So start off your college basketball season with the best tonight at 10 o'clock on ESPN.
All right, he's got to figure out how to strike. And that ball just sails right. See, these lanes are really tight. And you got to keep your angles a lot closer to the pocket. And Ryan just missed way right. Now, this is a washout, so it's very makeable. But you're pretty much going to have to go Brooklyn for this.
First of all, wait and see what Shafer does.
Yeah, he's going to have to figure out how to make this so he doesn't fall further behind. Oh my goodness sakes! Man, he is getting real unlucky. And again, so we've seen it with Chris Barnes last week, that was really one of his first showings of just making a few too many bad shots and missing single pin spares in title matches. So we're seeing it right here with Ryan Shafer in his bad luck, because 9 times out of 10, that washout would have been picked up.
To keep hitting the pocket. If he keeps putting the ball in the pocket and filling frames, he's fine.
And Jason goes wide. And he pretty much leaves the same thing that Ryan did, except on the left side, and the head pin is not with it. So it's essentially an even tougher split to go for. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jason picked this up to keep himself in the match. Well, to keep his lead in the match. See if he can pick this up. Yeah, Ryan just does not have a very good look right now. His ball is just not carrying, and Jason has been able to make his ball carry more consistently. Yep, carry for good cover. I think Ryan's attempt on the washout was a better attempt at it, and it didn't pick it up. And Jason almost missed it, and he picks it up. Just, bowling's a very interesting game. Ooh, that's a pretty good attempt. That definitely could have wrapped around the 7-pin and missed it just like it did with Shafer, but the top of the pin hit just enough of the 7 to knock it over. Goodness sakes.
You never did that. Of course not. Couch in the 9th frame.
Needs to control his emotions. Put the ball back into the pocket.
All right, he misses wide again, but he only leaves a single pin, so, you know, he's maintaining his lead. So this is yet another low-scoring match, which I figured it was going to be. But the player who can just leave the most makeable spares and overall stay clean is the player who's going to win this match. And it looks like it's going to be Jason Couch pretty handily.
It becomes increasingly more difficult to throw the ball slow enough to make it hook back in the pocket.
There's a lot of history written on here. Jason Couch will be the first player to have ever won the Tournament of Champions back-to-back. Now, Mike Durbin did win 3 Tournament of Champions in his time before this, but not consecutively. And also Marshall Holman won 2 Tournament of Champions, but again, not consecutively. And yeah, pretty low scoring match for Shafer. If he strikes out, he can only go out for 189. And now he's going to be shooting for 170s. Maybe hit that one just a little bit too fast. Yeah, either way, his ball, he has not had a good look since his first few frames. His ball reaction is just completely evaporated. And I think Jason knows that this match is just about over.
Great year, great performance here. This first time in the Tournament of Champions. Memorable one.
Well, I made Ryan Shafer the favorite.
Yep, Ryan Shafer just had too many shots that sailed wide. And unfortunately, he had a couple more open frames this match. And that's really what cost him. And not being able to double up didn't help his chances either. And even if he strikes out in the 10th frame, it's just not going to be enough.
He was close to tears last night when he struck in the 10th frame to dislodge Norm Duke out of the lead position, and now the opportunity for 2 in a row. You know he's going to be very, very emotional.
Get it. These kind of matches are real frustrating for a player. Like, you see what you need to do, you're keeping your angles relatively tight, and, you know, halfway down the lane, your ball looks like it can strike, and it just leaves shots like that. Just real frustrating kind of match. Pretty tough lane conditions right there, for sure. I think he played them good. I do think he probably played them pretty good. Just, if he would have had another ball, I think this could have been a different story. And Jason's going to win sitting on the bench.
From Jason Couch.
Going back to the domestic lane conditions, were not easy tonight. So Shafer finishes.
See, there you go. That shot was better than the last one by a long shot, and it still leaves a 10-pin. Jason's going to get to make a victory lap here.
Probably tough to throw this shot, but he's your winner before he throws it. This is nothing but icing on the cake, and congratulations.
Yep, both players struggled with carry the whole time, but you know what? Jason Couch has pretty much had a clean game, and that is essentially what helped him to win his second Tournament of Champions. Well, there you go. A very tough title match for both players. Those are the kind of matches, though, that are a lot of times both real interesting to watch and real frustrating too, because you want to see bowlers be able to strike a ton, but it's also nice to see the best bowlers in the world having to figure out tough lane conditions. Well, so in our next video, we're going to see Jason Couch have a rematch with a familiar face in the 2002 Tournament of Champions. There was no 2001 Tournament of Champions held, so we're going to go to 2002 next week. And if you don't want to miss that breakdown, then be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any more videos. I'm Karsatowski. Keep watching my content, and I'll see you in that next video. See ya.